right, let's get to it. So this episode is about identity. And quickly, without thinking too hard, I want you to comment what your identity is or what you think it is. I'll go first. So first, I would like to say I'm a boxer, a son, a human, a brother, a boyfriend, a friend, a teammate. And it's a lot of things, but we can identify a lot of ways. I'll show you. A lot lately, I've been thinking how quick people are to decide who you are for you, how quick they are to box you in, especially when you do something intense like boxing. They hear fighter and right away they fill in the rest about you. He's violent, cold, probably angry. And boxing is violent, and I am violent when I'm boxing. But being in a combat sport doesn't necessarily mean you walk around mad at the world just looking for a reason to snap out on somebody. Or at least that's not the case for me. Some of the best fighters I study and the ones I admire most aren't fueled by rage. They're fueled by purpose and a want for mastery in their craft. They show up with discipline, not emotion. Muhammad Ali is one of my favorites because of this, for his lack of a modern term, swag, and his love for people, not his anger. Triple G had an iron chin and was a feared puncher, but he was always respectful. He was soft-spoken. Benavidez mentioned when he got to spar him, he was one of the most welcoming people outside of the ring, like just a classy dude. Usyk's a world champion. Anyway, the world champions, these people, they're just themselves, dancing, enjoying life, even at the highest level. They're just focused dudes, intentionally strong, searching for mastery of their craft. So seeing that, it reminds me, I don't have to fit anyone's version of what a boxer is. And I don't have to be angry to be dangerous, and I don't have to be angry to be effective. Before boxing, I played football, and that was my whole identity for years. It taught me a lot about commitment and sacrifice, and I used to credit everything I was to football. It was my identity. But when that season ended and the game stopped being a part of my daily life, I had to pivot. That pivot showed me something important. It's easy to confuse what you do with who you are. We get so wrapped up in our titles, like being a student or an athlete or a manager or whatever, that when one of those falls off and one of those seasons ends, we start questioning our worth. We start wondering who we even are without it. And now I'm boxing, and I love everything about it. I am a boxer. I love the self-mastery it demands and how deep fighting really is, because the more you learn, the more you find out you really don't know much. And I love how raw and honest it is. You can't fake it in the ring. It exposes you, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It brings the most raw you out. Not just physically, it exposes everything you are. And I write you in caps because I truly believe you don't know much about a person until you're watching them fight. I believe that's the rawest form of observation of somebody's personality. But even now, I know that this too is a season. And it's a beautiful one, absolutely, and one I'm committed to with my life, but it's still a part of the bigger picture. Because identity isn't fixed. My coach mentions to me that having a fixed mindset is damaging for people, but an athlete especially. For your overall growth, it can be damaging because you can't grow if you think you've grown enough. So identity isn't fixed. It's not something you figure out once and then carry like a badge forever. It's something that evolves if you're really living and trying for it. You're not the same you that your best friend from third grade remembers, and that's not something to fear or be sad about. It's something to celebrate. But the world doesn't always see it that way. The world will try to box you in and tell you what you can do, what you can't do, who you're allowed to be and who you shouldn't be. It'll try to shrink you down into one label or one version of yourself just to make you easier to digest. So to that, I say be misunderstood before you're misrepresented. If you're not careful, you'll start to believe what the world says about you. You'll start living in that box they've made for you. And if it's a small box, you'll start being small. Stop thinking you got to pick one lane or one version of yourself and stay locked into it forever. That's false, and I don't believe in that. I believe people are layered and complex because we carry joy and pain, strength and struggle all at the same time. The whole comedy and tragedy thing of life. And that sounds like a contradiction or paradox, but it's not. It's just being human. You can be disciplined and still struggle. And you can fight with everything in you violently and still walk in peace. My grandpa says to me, Michael, walk lightly, but carry a big stick. I believe in that. I know I'm not perfect, and I've got my battles like any other human. And there's days where the voices creep back in and the pressure feels heavy, but you show up anyways, because when you choose growth in your identity, it's uncomfortable. You shed old ways that no longer serve you, and just like any other animal shedding its skin, it may just hurt a little. But even when it feels like letting go of parts of who you thought you had to be, you should recognize there is no had to be, just what you get to be by choice. Because truthfully, I don't want to live inside someone else's definition of me. Not the world's, not yours, not even my own old definitions. I only know so much today, and tomorrow I may feel different. So it's okay to reinvent. It's okay to outgrow expectations, both the world's and ones you've set upon yourself. It's okay to not be the same you that people remember from school, or they met in the gym last year, or even met in the gym last month. because you get to live fully, and that means being exactly who you want to be today. So I want to be a great fighter, but more than that, I want to be a great man, because being a killer in the ring doesn't mean you have to be a killer in your day-to-day life. You can choose to, but I don't. So do things without shrinking yourself, without hiding pieces of you just to make other people comfortable. Because when people are unsure of their own identity, they'll try to make you dislike yours. They'll try to take your seat at the table away, not knowing you are the table. Peace.